Welcome to Homes with Purpose, everyone. I'm Janet Jackson, and today we're diving into a question that honestly might completely shift your perspective on school improvement. What if the most powerful lever for student success isn't a shiny new curriculum or even more rigorous testing, but something far more foundational: housing stability?
As education professionals, we're hardwired to focus on instruction, on leadership, on measurable outcomes, and we absolutely should. But every single day, students walk into our classrooms carrying a weight we often don't account for: the stress of housing insecurity, the disruption of frequent moves, or the immense financial pressure at home. How often do our strategic plans actually consider where students slept last night? Janet, that's such a critical starting point, and it's why I firmly believe and have spent my career advocating that housing isn't just a social issue, it's educational infrastructure. Think about it: when families experience true stability, when they know they have a safe, consistent place to call home, you see a direct, measurable improvement in student attendance. Their focus in class strengthens, and their behavior becomes far more predictable.
Educational infrastructure. That's a powerful way to frame it, Dr. Cham. Because you're right, it's not just about having a roof over their heads, it's about the security and the peace of mind that comes with it, which then directly impacts their ability to learn.
Exactly. Conversely, when rent burdens rise, when displacement becomes more common, our classrooms feel that impact long before policymakers or even the broader public often do. You see it in the school climate, in higher mobility rates within the student body. Real estate decisions, in essence, directly shape enrollment patterns, these mobility rates, and ultimately long-term academic performance.
So it's not just an abstract concept. We're talking about very real, very tangible ripple effects that hit the heart of our schools. Can you give us some more concrete examples of how this plays out in a student's daily life or in a classroom setting?
Absolutely. Imagine a child who's been uprooted 3 times in a single school year. Each move means a new school, new teachers, new classmates, new routines. They're constantly adapting, constantly trying to catch up socially and academically. Their attendance often suffers because transportation might be an issue, or they might just be exhausted and emotionally drained. Or consider a teenager whose family is constantly on the brink of eviction or living in a motel. That stress, that uncertainty, it's debilitating. How can they possibly concentrate on algebra or a history lesson when their primary concern is whether they'll have a place to sleep next week? Their fight or flight response is constantly activated, making it incredibly difficult to engage higher level thinking. That's so true. I mean, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and basic safety and security are at the very bottom. If those aren't met, how can we expect students to reach for self-actualization or even just academic achievement? It's like building a house without a foundation.
But Dr. Cham, this sounds like such a huge systemic problem. As educators, our primary role is in the classroom. We're not developers, we're not housing policy experts. So, what can we actually do? How do we, who are focused on teaching and learning, engage with something that feels so far outside our immediate purview?
That's a fantastic and very practical question, Janet. And you're right, educators don't need to become developers overnight, but they absolutely need awareness and, crucially, partnership. The first step is acknowledging that this issue exists and that it profoundly impacts our work. When school leaders begin to engage with housing conversations, when they understand the local housing landscape, they can advocate for inclusive development within their communities. They can track student mobility data as a key part of their school improvement planning, not just as a side note. This shift moves us from merely reacting to the symptoms of housing insecurity, like poor attendance or behavioral issues, to actively addressing the root causes.
So, it's about seeing the bigger picture and then understanding how our slice of the pie, education, fits into it. Tracking mobility data, that's an interesting point. How would that practically inform a school's improvement plan?
It's incredibly illuminating. If a school sees a high percentage of students moving mid-year, or a significant churn of families, that's not just a statistic, it's a flashing red light. It tells them they need to develop more robust transition supports for new students, maybe extra social-emotional learning resources, or even look into partnership models with local housing authorities or nonprofits that can offer direct support to families at risk. It also helps them identify hotspots of instability in their catchment area, which can inform where they might concentrate outreach efforts or even advocate for community resources. For example, if a particular apartment complex has a high eviction rate, the school might proactively connect those families with legal aid or rental assistance programs before a crisis hits.
That proactive approach makes so much sense. It shifts from waiting for the problem to walk through your doors to anticipating and even preventing some of the fallout. But it sounds like it requires a whole new layer of collaboration beyond just the school walls, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does. It necessitates breaking down silos. Schools need to be talking to city planners, to housing agencies, to local community organizations, even to landlords. It's about creating an ecosystem of support where everyone recognizes their role in fostering student well-being, which fundamentally includes housing stability. It's not about the school solving the housing crisis, but about the school being an informed, proactive partner in its community.
I can imagine some educators listening right now thinking, this sounds like a lot more on our plate. And honestly, that's a valid concern, given how much is already asked of them. What would you say to those who feel overwhelmed by the prospect of adding housing advocacy to their long list of responsibilities?
I completely understand that sentiment. It's not about adding another burden, but about reframing how we approach existing challenges. If we continue to address educational outcomes without considering the foundational issues impacting them, we're constantly fighting upstream. It's less more work and more smarter work that addresses the root cause rather than just the symptoms. When stable housing builds stable learning, and stable learning builds opportunity, then investing in that stability isn't extra work. It's maximizing the impact of all the other hard work educators are already doing. It makes the curriculum more effective, the teaching more impactful, and the leadership more resonant.
That's a compelling argument, Dr. Cham. It's about efficiency and effectiveness in the long run. If we want our educational efforts to truly take root and flourish, we need to ensure the soil is fertile, and for many students, that means having a stable home environment. Thinking about the long-term impact, beyond just immediate academic gains, what are the broader societal benefits when schools and communities prioritize housing stability for students?
Oh, the benefits are immense and far-reaching. When children have stable homes, they're more likely to complete school, pursue higher education, and secure better-paying jobs. This breaks cycles of intergenerational poverty. It reduces healthcare costs because chronic stress and instability often lead to poorer health outcomes. Stable communities also foster civic engagement, reduce crime rates, and lead to more vibrant local economies. It's an investment in human capital and social cohesion. So while our focus starts with the child in the classroom, the positive ripple effect extends outward to the entire community and even society at large.
It truly reframes the conversation, doesn't it? From how do we fix test scores to how do we create the conditions for every child to thrive, with housing stability being a cornerstone of those conditions. It feels like a more holistic, more human-centered approach to education.
Precisely. And it's an acknowledgement that our students don't arrive at school as isolated learners. They come as whole individuals, shaped by their experiences, their environments, and the stability or instability of their homes. Ignoring that context is doing a disservice to our students and to our profession.
So, for educators listening, what's one immediate thing they can do to start this journey of awareness and partnership? What's a first step, however small?
I'd say start a conversation. Talk to your school social worker, your guidance counselor. Ask about the mobility rates in your school. Look at what resources are already available, or what partnerships might be budding. Simply raising the issue in a staff meeting can be a powerful catalyst. Knowledge truly is power here, and just becoming more aware of the housing challenges your students face is a huge first step.
That's a very actionable suggestion, because sometimes just knowing where to start can be the hardest part, and it reminds us that this isn't just about data and policy, but about empathy and understanding the lived experiences of our students and their families.
Exactly. Education at its heart is about empowering individuals, and we can't fully empower them if we're not also looking at the foundational aspects of their lives. Housing stability isn't a silver bullet, but it's an indispensable part of the equation for genuine student success and well-being.
This conversation has been incredibly insightful, Dr. Cham. It certainly challenges us to think beyond the conventional boundaries of school improvement. If this discussion has resonated with you, if it's challenged your thinking, I really encourage you to reflect on what you're seeing in your own school. Leave a comment with your observations or questions, and please, share this discussion with a colleague or a fellow educator who needs to hear it. Because recognizing housing as educational infrastructure isn't just a talking point, it's a call to action for a more equitable and effective education system for all. Thank you, Dr. Cham, for shedding such important light on this critical issue, and thank you all for joining us on Homes with Purpose. We'll catch you next time.